Big trade today, bringing defenseman MacKenzie Weegar to the Utah Mammoth. Why was this the right deal and the right trade for this team at this time?
Well, it's a great trade in the sense of adding another great D-man to the already pretty strong defensive core back there. But he brings a wealth of experience. I think what we love about him is his ability to move a puck. He's a gamer, someone that shows up every night, plays a physical brand of hockey. Not the biggest D-man in the world, but he's got a great brain. When you have a D-man like him that can move a puck back there, it creates offense to your forwards. They can get the puck in motion and can attack. And we're a pretty fast team now, so this adds another defenseman to our lineup that's going to make an impact.
What role do you expect him to play here with the Mammoth right away?
Well, I think that's the great thing about him. He's a top 4D. He can play PP, PK. Almost any situation. He can play a shutdown role too, so he's going to be a big asset for us down the stretch.
We've heard this guy's also a culture guy. What about bringing in culture adds to this group already?
Yeah, he's got a great work ethic. Just doing a lot of homework on him. He had really his teammates spoke very highly of him, his former teammates, and what he does in the dressing room and leads by example. But he's got a little bit of fight in him too, which we like. And he wants to win. He wants to push this club to the next level. So it'll be exciting when he arrives and actually gets in the lineup.
So he's a guy for playoffs too, right? He's not the biggest guy, but he's kind of stocky and thick, and he's a guy that can get you through some playoffs.
Yeah, and that's it. He's someone that, the way he plays, and he just has that gritty style, with a little bit of finesse to it, and he's going to fit in with the likes of Sean Durzi and Sergachev and Moreno and Schmidt and Colsey. It's going to be a good D tandem back there that can really weather some tough playoff games. So we got to get in there first, but if we do, when we do, it's going to give us a chance to have a good core, that's experienced core that can play playoffs.
I'm curious how the conversation went as to getting him to agree to come to Utah. He had a full no trade clause, I believe. Just kind of what was that conversation like?
Well, that's the new norm of the NHL, is that when you're making deals, a lot of them have trade protection. So you have to kind of go through that and explain, a little bit about our team, a little bit about Utah. As you know, Utah's a new city to the National Hockey League, and you want to explain a little bit of who we are and where we're headed. And I think, we've played Calgary pretty tough over the years. So I think he had a good understanding of how we play and what we are. And, he's been into Utah before and seen the loudest building in the National Hockey League. So,
what does this trade signal in terms of your intentions, not only this season but moving forward?
Well, we're, like I said, we wake up every morning trying to improve the team. And that's our biggest thing is, via trade, via waivers, watching our young players play in Tucson and their improvement. And when they're ready to take that step, we're trying to put them into our lineup. So this is a club right now that is pushing to get into the playoffs, to take that next step. And we're hungry to make it better every single day.
What's the expected timeline for him to potentially join this team?
That's really up to the visa process. We're going to file that as quick as we can to get him into the United States and get him playing. So we'll see how that goes. Could be anywhere from 4 to 10 days.
How important was it to get it done without giving up any of those first-round drafted players or future first-round picks?
Well, that's what back in the day when we acquired all those second-round picks, we knew at some point we'd have to use them to go out and get players. And so they're nice to have, a little bit of an arsenal of picks, and to be able to go out and do that is good. Now we still have the ability to pick in the first round or use it to acquire, another player, whether it's at the trade deadline or at the draft. So it does give you a lot of flexibility and ability to go out there and acquire players.
So you're not necessarily done then, right?
Well, the trade deadline's not over yet, so there's still more time on the clock.
For Utah fans, obviously last year looked a little bit different at the trade deadline than this year. Can you just kind of give a little bit, without sharing too much in the nitty-gritty, of what made this trade deadline different and why this was the process, or what process went into this kind of conversation?
Well, a lot of it is still the same in the sense that, when we're acquiring somebody, we're looking at age, we're looking at term of contract, and, can they move with the club, We're not at the point where we're risking it all for rentals to come in. So we're a lot the same, but we're probably a little bit more aggressive. Each year that we go by, our team becomes a little bit more cemented in, and you can kind of go after what your needs are. And we're still, like I said, our best team is not here yet. There's still more young prospects to come in and play, but what this does is allow them time to develop and be a competitive club and push the envelope to see if when we get into the playoffs, what's that step we can take. And Mr. Weegar allows us to come out with a lot of fight, and we still got some more work to do, but he certainly adds another piece of the puzzle.
He's got several years left on his contract. How exciting is it to bring in a guy like that who can be a part of the core moving forward?
Yeah. Well, he is a part of it. Like you said, he's got a contract that allows him to come back and be a part of it. And he wants to win. And there's a lot of guys on our team, whether it's Schmaltz or it's Kells or it's Jersey or it's Sergachev, they all have something to prove, and he's going to fit in well with that group and now take that next step. But he also has the ability, as we grow and the younger players take that next step, he's going to be with us too, and he's going to be a huge part of our core moving forward.
What does this do for the players that are here too, where they see, management making a deal like this to improve the team? How does it elevate everybody else, especially this time of season?
Well, I mean, they've earned our belief, the way that they fought this year and the way that they've played, and taking steps to become better. That's a lot of our players having that belief of showing up to the rink every day to take that next step. And they've done a good job. We're in the fight right now. We're right where we're supposed to be, and it's nice to reward them and be able to add to the group. And in the past years, when we were building it, we were constantly stripping it down. It's nice to be on the other side of that, of adding a good player into our roster to take that next step.